Unemployment rates might be crazy, but that doesn't mean that there's a shortage of jobs either. For instance, what do you yourself do for a living? Forget about your job title or things you do as part of your routine. I mean, what is that one thing that you actually create or improve? What do you really contribute? I'll tell you this, there are a lot of jobs today that don't make any sense at all. They just add no value, at the very least. In fact, if you ask someone doing any of these jobs what their work literally entails, you'd be surprised that it's all, quote, bullshit. Oops, sorry, you got that right. For example, if you find yourself working as a junior internal communications manager overseeing a team of clever HR employees at a small insurance company, well, you know what? Your job could be among the many others that frankly contribute nothing. No offense though, that's just the way it goes nowadays. I know you're trying to do everything right, you pay your bills, you invest, you have subscribed to ICE, you enjoy watching our videos, plus other great things. But do you have a job that you secretly believe is pointless? If so, then you're quite lucky you bumped into the right video. I'm about to show you the phenomenon of bullshit jobs that exist today. And by the way, we'd rather refer to them as superfluous jobs in this video, just to keep things a bit more professional. I'll even tell you why they exist and what they do with us. So pull your seat close, because it's about to go down. The number of these superfluous service jobs has increased drastically in the last century alone. Can you imagine that these jobs now represent approximately 80% of all workers? This number is way greater than has been the case in the past several years. I know you might be thinking that the service sector is only for people who work in the hospitality industry, receptionists in hotels, waiters who serve you coffee, people who sell clothes in department stores, and more. But that's not it. In fact, you'd be surprised that the service sector comprises a lot more, including CEOs and even call center salespersons. Before we dig deep into this quirk of modern advanced capitalism, I want you to understand more about Soviet communism. Let me take you back to history class. The Soviet Union was built with the concept of noble labor in mind. The state valued work and even said that work was honorable and dignified. As such, people took pride in their labor above everything else. But this sort of caused problems when the work supply was low, when there was not enough work to go around amongst everybody. The drive for full employment meant some people were assigned tasks that were obviously completely redundant. Factory managers hired as many people as they possibly could. It was indeed very honorable to oversee the labor of so many of your comrades. This style of work grew popular and was commonly known as worker hoarding. Moreover, these managers also feared that if they didn't hire so many people, they wouldn't get the people they needed in the future. You can imagine that some people were even given jobs like counting endless inventories of nuts and bolts. Back to modern day. It's easy to identify certain similarities with the case in the Soviet Union. In fact, the famous anthropologist David Graeber made the theory of totally unnecessary jobs start gaining popularity after he published his book on bullshit jobs. In his book, David explains a bullshit job as a job where even the person doing it can't come up with a justification for its existence. The person working the job feels that if it didn't exist, it would make no difference, or the world would actually be a better place. David goes further to outline 5 broad categories of bullshit jobs. Number 1, the taskmasters. These top the list of pointless workers we have today. They're basically assigned to watch over and manage people who don't really need to be watched over or managed. Yes, effective management exists, especially when coordinating a team with a wide set of skills. But think of someone like a sales manager. Oh heavens, this one typically watches over a team of people with exactly the same job title as them. In most cases, they turn out to be an overpaid cheerleader encouraging people to work harder in their roles without success. They never stop distracting others by constantly calling for meetings and crafting strategic mission statements that achieve nothing. Instead, they end up pulling people away from a job where they do actually have a chance of doing something meaningful. Now here come the real demons of the world of redundant jobs. Number 2, the goons. Ideally, a goon is a violent, aggressive person who is hired to intimidate or harm people, like a squad of goons waving pistols. Now think of goons in the bullshit job world as a class of jobs that actually negatively impact society, yet they make themselves necessary by simply existing. You don't need them unless somebody else has them, sort of like armies. If nobody had an army, no one would need an army. Can you guess any? Telemarketers or in-house corporate lawyers. These don't really produce anything, but things can get very messy if you don't have them. It'll cost you a lot more to hire external counsel to fight off lawsuits from companies that indeed have corporate lawyers. Other than the lawyers, you can think of people like lobbyists who, simply put, fight to change or retain the rules of the game. And salespeople who exist purely to move business dealings from one company to another while referring to themselves as middlemen in the process. Number 3, the box tickers. You've seen how the taskmasters and the goons add little to no value whatsoever. But wait until you learn about this type of bullshit job. The box tickers are there to allow an organization to say they're doing something that they're not doing. There's a lot of that in the government, and many organizations are increasingly doing that as well. Think of the people who create internal company newspapers with stories about key executives like managing directors and CEOs or whatever they report about. Nobody reads these newspapers, and that's the whole truth about it. However, if a company had no internal newspaper or a culture coordinator, then it might actually look like a small fry company not worth doing business with or working for. The problem with box tickers, of course, is that their job takes up so much time which they could actually be spending doing something productive. For example, a person working in a care home will typically do monthly interviews and collect data on what sort of entertainment people would like to have, and then tabulate the data and file and eventually export it to blah blah blah. This person could be entertaining these people in their care home themselves, or take action to finally realize this entertainment. But instead, they have to spend all of their time finding out what the elderly would like to be doing for entertainment. Nobody cares. Most of the people in a care home are happy with all sorts of entertainment and love to be surprised by an unexpected event. Are you ready to find out the last 2 types of superfluous jobs? Okay, hang on. Take a second and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy watching this video so far. Okay, have you heard of number 4, the flunkies? Okay, one thing about these groups of people is that they only exist to make someone else look good or feel better about themselves. Besides, they could all easily be replaced with some kind of technology, and that's if they are really needed after all. You can think of people like receptionists, chauffeurs, assistants, or door attendants. Or people who sit around in the offices and basically don't do anything except, pass emails to someone or say no, that's spam. Yeah, these people are just there because you're not actually a real executive or are not willing to automate more if you don't have someone sitting at your desk. It is so easy to do away with them and everything else will still happen as usual. Number 5, the duct tapers. Anthropologist David Graeber refers to duct tapers as people who are there to fix a problem that does not need to exist, and everybody knows it. Many corporations do this as they'll hire someone just to deal with the damage of the fact that something is badly organized. For example, think of an inventory manager that just so happens to have the system permissions to update stock levels in the warehouse. This job can be automatically done, or at least shared amongst floor staff. And one really annoying thing is that the bullshit jobs tend to pay more than the actually useful jobs. Listen to this. There's a story from China where a local politician demanded more jobs. So the construction engineers fired the excavator driver and hired 20 people to use shovels instead. Sounds stupid, right? Then the next year, the local politician demanded even more jobs. So they hired 200 new workers and gave them spoons instead of shovels. Seriously? Well, that ends our video today. No more bullshit stories, jobs, and what have you. Anyway, what do you think about these types of jobs that achieve nothing at all? Let us know in the comments section if you have ever worked in these categories of jobs and how your experience was. Before you go, be sure to check out my video on why you will never retire. If you thought bullshit jobs were crazy, I'll tell you what nobody ever tells you about retirement. Thanks for the love and watching till the end. You can always give us a big thumbs up if you like this video and turn on your notifications bell for more awesome content. See you!